You know, and
Well, you're going back to the years. You're going back to.
oh yeah,
You're going back to when Al was in Tulane Stadium.
yeah,
To those days.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I work. You mean Al Hurt?
Yeah.
I work with Al Hurt.
I know you did.
You know, and I work with Pete Fountain too.
Yeah.
They both. Al told me, Johnny, you're 10 years behind. That's when he was alive. I said, Al, what do you want me to do? I can't make a miracle happen. You know. He says, well, I'll tell you what. The computer will catch you 20 years. All you need to do is find somebody that knows how to handle a computer,
Right.
and you're on your way.
Right.
He says, and they can not only promote you nationally, but they can promote you around the world on a computer. And you know what's crazy? 57 countries is playing my music right now.
There you go.
This thing right here, not the one
Not that one, right?
No.
But this one.
Yeah, and but I mean, what can I say? Boots told me point blank. He said, Johnny, I'm not a country saxophone player. I only did Yakety sax because it sounded good. Everybody liked it. He said, but the funny thing about it, one radio station liked it. Nobody else liked it.
Right.
All of a sudden, the radio station started playing the hell out of it, and it's like a struck match in the middle of the forest.
Right.
That's what he said.
Well, your roots come from. I'm talking back in to the mid '60s. Up in that era.
Yeah, maybe
Pretty
a little
much.
bit.
That's
Yeah,
Bourbon
between-
Street. That's
I
really
was a-
where you.
I was a kid, man. You know, when I was 13 years
Well,
old.
according to your bio, 17 years old, 16 years old,
Yeah.
you were playing clubs on
Bourbon Street.
On Bourbon,
yeah,
right.
but I had my own band before then.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
And the guys that used to back me, promote me,
Yeah.
was the disc jockeys. Now, you don't know, I'm sure you never heard of Jim Russell.
Jim Russell. No,
Yeah.
I have not.
Okay. But Jim Russell was in partners with Alan Freed.
Alan Freed, I know. Right?
Yeah, okay.
That's a name.
Well, guess what? Alan Freed and Jim were partners. Well,
Okay.
Jim decided to come to New Orleans and revolutionize the radio stations. And he damn sure did. And you know what? God rest his soul. God bless you, Jim Russell, because that man thought that I walked on water. And I told him I don't walk on water. Jesus did. You understand? In fact, I got a guy right now that's in Canada that was handling my Canadian connection up there.
Yeah.
He called Jim Russell before he died, because I did 18 shows in Canada, concerts on my own. They were backing me, not me backing them. Okay.
Okay. They had you, and you had, who did you have with you?
I didn't need a band with me.
Oh, okay.
What I had was up there was a band that won 2 Juno Awards.
Okay, that's
And
good enough.
Wait, we ain't done yet. The ones that particular group backed me, but them guys gave Aykroyd and Belushi the idea to do the Blues Brothers movie. So they used 3 of Donnie Walsh's tunes, and he's the leader of the band. So that dude's a multi-skillionaire today because of that.
Just from that, right?
Yeah,
Wow.
just from that. That's crazy, huh?
Amazing.
Yeah, you telling me. But getting back to Boots, man, you know. Wait, let me get back to DJs. The guy in Canada called Jim Russell because he was trying to get some information about me.
Mm-hmm.
And this dude's a graduate from Yale University, so he ain't no dummy. Skull and bones, brother. Let me tell you, you know. But anyway, Jim Russell, man, he told him, he said, I don't want to tell you that you got about the best saxophone player this country's ever going to see. And I told him, I said, I'm not the best. I'm the different one. I'm the most different one. I'm not the best. Boots Randolph wasn't the best. Sam Butera wasn't the best. But they were different. And that's the name of the game.
Well, your roots were pure jazz.
Rock and roll and jazz, a mixture.
Right. So
I listen to guys, oh man,
so
you can't imagine.
As you started to say, when you try to convert that to a country sound, that's a little bit different.
Yes.
That's
Yeah. Well, I mixed it.
Well, you have that's where a musician grows, when you stretch.
Right.
And that's where that came in for you.
Oh yeah, yeah. But the thing is, it wasn't just Jim Russell. It was Dave Nebel, Herb Holiday. I know one name you know, and that's what was it? Larry Regan and Papa Stopper.
Papa Stopper.
Okay?
That goes
Clarence. Clarence was Papa Stopper.
That's right.
Okay?
That goes way back.
They between them three disc jockeys,
Yeah.
they worked me to death. I was a kid, man. I was going to school. My father stopped me on the staircase. He said, "What are you trying to prove?" I said, "Break myself in or up, one of the two." It's crazy, but it's true, you know. But that's how it started. And and when I say I backed the Giants, I ain't kidding you.
Well,
I backed Smiley Lewis. I don't know
Right.
if you heard of him. Joe Jones, Professor Longhair, Dr. John, Ernie Cato, Benny Spellman, Irma Thomas, Martha Carter, Chuck Carbo. Are you kidding?
what's your connection with Butera?
We all were personal friends. My father was. He was personal friends with Louis Prima and Sam.
And Sam.
Sam didn't see me till I was about this tall. I was playing alto saxophone.
Yeah.
And he came to Daddy, brought him to the house. So Sam brought his horn in. So he said, "Little Charlie." So he called me. So I said, "What the hell?" He said, "Look," he said, "this is the horn you got to play, Little Charlie." I said, "Mr. Sam, I can't hold that horn. It's too big for me." You know.
Uh-huh.
He said, "Well, when you grow up a little taller, that's the one that you need to play." So one night,
And he could tell then.
yeah, oh yeah. In fact,
Well, he was an accomplished musician at that time when he was.
are you
right,
kidding?
Exactly.
Sam,
yeah.
you know.
Sam Butera and the Witnesses. Is that was it?
That's right.
That was his
The
group.
thing is, though, Sam had a unique way of playing, like I do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I could play like him because he was my idol. That's why I could play
Right,
like him.
Right.
But Sam was not like Coltrane or Michael Brecker. Yeah, those guys, when you listen to them play, you get tired of listening to them. Scales, they play all, excuse the word,
It's good.
bloop, bloop. You get tired of hearing them scales. You crazy. Butera made the horn talk. Now that's what I do.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
monkey with all them scales like them cats play, you know?
I did a little research on you before we got here. I listened to quite a bit of your material. It's beyond description. It's really good. It's
And
really
and you
good.
know, like Al Hurt said, "Johnny, you're overlooked, man. You gotta get somebody to promote you." But you know what's funny? I talked to Pete Fountain. Them cats only care about their damn self. They didn't care about nobody else. You know, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, he could have made money with me.
Oh yeah.
You know, but
Well, you did, and you could, and you still can play with anybody. Period.
Man, look. You know, when I get on, I worked with Van Broussard for 7 years.
Is that right?
6, 7 years. Yeah. You know what that did me? Pardon the language. But anyway. You know what that son of a gun did me? I walked in at the casino where they were at.
Uh-huh.
He hired me, okay? They had 3 other horns, a trumpet, a baritone saxophone, and another tenor. So he says, "You got to get in the middle." You know, so I got in the middle, and the horn's up, and I'm there, and all of a sudden I heard 1, 2. I said, "Wait a minute! What the hell are you doing?" I said, "The word is musician. I ain't a mind reader." You know, they just started 1, 2, 3, 4. That was it. Well, guess what? I fixed theirs. About 8 counts, between 4 and 8 counts. I had them. I had the tune. I had the key, and also the harmony I was supposed to be on.
I was gonna say before the countdown, just give me a key. Give me somewhere to start.
Yeah,
Give me
he
a
didn't
note.
tell me. He didn't do me a damn thing. And they done that for 4 or 5 tunes. I look at Jerry, rest his soul. He died. This poor guy dropped dead in the parking lot. He's a trumpet
Ooh.
player. Yeah, I loved that guy. He was a great dude, man.
Yeah.
I looked at Jerry. I said, "Jerry, what's wrong with Van? Is he freaking crazy or what?" He said, "Johnny, what you think? They did me the same thing." I said, "You mean to tell me they threw you up here with the
Yeah.
other horns and you didn't know what you was doing?"
Yeah.
Sure enough.
So
Can't believe they did that.
so let's go way back, okay? So
Hey, you
like
go too far back, I'll fall off the bridge.
I'm not going to go that far, but I'm going to go a little
Yeah,
ways back.
go ahead, go
Because I
ahead.
did a little research. I did
Sure.
a little reading,
Uh-huh.
and I came to find out that early on, very early on, you were kind of I'll say a big deal with the Battle of the Bands at St. Anthony.
Right.
There was so can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well,
That time period.
yeah, well, my group was a very well put together group. But the Jokers and all those bands.
Those are the big guys, the Jokers.
Yeah, but the Jokers only was out 6 months before me.
Right.
That's all.
Right.
Okay.
Well, they got all the press. When I said they were the big guys, they were the big dog.
But we had some monster players in. I had Freddie Staley working with me.
Yeah.
On drums.
Yeah.
Okay. And Ralph Rishu was a hell of a part. That dude. He was from Homer.
Yeah.
That son of a bitch had more soul on it than you could find. Play his ass off on piano, sing his ass off. I had the best band it was. Would you believe we went to the Battle of the Bands one time, and Freddie, they gave it to some other, the Corvettes. You remember them?
The Corvettes, yeah.
Yeah, the paper steamboat they morphed into, okay?
Right.
So anyway, they offered me to the second place. You know what I told them? I told them. And Freddie like to dropped on the floor. He quickly because I knew we were better than the Corvettes.
Right. Now, Freddie
Staley.
But I
you
remember,
know him?
I know Freddie Staley, but in my research, I also saw you in a photo with Freddie Fender.
Yeah, I gave Freddie Fender his first job when he got out of prison. What you mean? I'm the one that hired that.
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that he was there. You were there. I mean, y'all played together, right?
Yeah. Well, let me get myself further up.
Okay.
Past that.
Okay.
When I turned 17, my uncle had to go monkey with my age thing.
Of course.
See, because you couldn't go out to barbershop at 21 years old, and my family it was nothing but police department anyway.
Yeah.
You know.
So they could get you out there.
Yeah. Well, I went down to work for Walter Noto and Sam Anselmo. They owned the Dream Room, brother. You know what? You ever hear of the Dream Room?
That was one of the big ones.
Big one. Yeah. That was the big one, just as well as the famous door.
Yeah.
Okay. The Dream Room was known all over the world, and this place. Have you ever been in it?
Oh gosh, no.
Well, you missed something, boy. That place was so freaking big. But let me tell you what, they had nothing but 8x10 pictures of every star that played there all around the world. Played in that place.
Right.
And I was there, me and my buddy Ray Barris, and Skip Easterling. You ever hear of him?
I remember him, yeah.
Yeah, Skippy. In fact, Skippy should have been where Aaron Neville is. Skippy had a voice and a half, boy. And Aaron might have a good voice, but Skip Easterling had a bitch voice. Believe me, you know. And he just didn't get to do that. It was done to him. Of course, he died about maybe, I want to say about 4 or 5 years ago, give or take, you know.
Yeah.
But I've known Skip ever since we were kids. My grandfather rented him an apartment in one of his apartment houses on Ursuline Street. That's how far back we go. But Freddie Fender, I got to tell you this. When Walter Noto and Sam Anselmo decided to close the Dream Room down, then Angelo Conforto came to talk to me because he knew my dad. Jerome used to be a boxer with my father.
Yeah.
You know. And so he came over and said, hey, man, you know, you want to come over to Papa Joe's? I said, sure. Why not? You know, me and Ray, 2 o'clock in the morning jam session, okay? Maron, that I bite off more than I can chew. Whoa. You know what time? That damn job started at 2 o'clock, 2:30. You know what time I got out of there in the day?
When the sun came up?
The sun came. You mean when it baked the fried eggs on the seabed? Are you kidding? I mean, 8 and 9 o'clock in the day. And you know what's crazy? When Andrew, I'm standing outside, I'm having a cup of coffee because we took a break every 45 minutes.
Sure.
So we would go get a cup of coffee. So I'm standing outside. Here comes Angelo walking with this guy with 10 pounds of hair in his head. You understand?
Right.
So he walks up to me. He says, "Hey, man." He says, "Would you mind if this guy works with your band?" Quote and unquote. Look, I got a photographic memory, and also I got a tape recorder that with anything that's important in my life is stuck here. Okay, and I still could see it, and I still remember the words verbatim. So he says, "Hey, Johnny," he said, "would you mind if this guy worked with your band?" I said, "Well, no, I don't mind." I said, "But we can't hire him because we don't make enough money to hire him."
Right.
You know, he said, "Oh, no worry about that." He says, "I'm gonna, I'll pay him. I'll take care." I said, "Well, who is he?" I didn't recognize him.
Right.
You know, because I had an album of him when he had, and everybody thought "Wasted Days" was his first record.
Is that right?
His first one was "Holy One."
I'll be.
And he got pinched with 2 freaking sticks on him with marijuana.
Really?
And they put him in prison for 2 years. And it screwed his damn career up.
Wow.
So that was you know something? That was the most luckiest Mexican son of a gun I ever laid eyes on. I told him, Freddie Fender, did you ever get a proctology scope? He said, why? I said, I want to know if they found a horseshoe in your ass.
It's got to be something gold up there.
Yeah, you damn it. That guy had 3 breaks. My own, I can't even get a half of one. You know? So anyway, then I hired him, and he got slicked down and everything else, of course. And
Well, they polished him up. He was a production himself.
Oh yeah,
You
well,
know
Joe,
that,
and
yeah.
all of a sudden, about 3 or 4 months later, who do you think's walking down the street with a starboard list? It was Joe Barry.
Is that right?
Well, this Mustang
Yeah.
loaded, you know. He's walking like this instead of straight. He's walking sideways like that, you know. I look at his son of a gun and says, "What's the matter with that boy? Is he crazy or something wrong with him?" So anyway, Angelo hired him, put him up there. Now Skip Eastling, they say, oh, he was at Pop. Skippy was not there then. Angelo hired Skip to do a matinee from 3 o'clock in the evening till 8 o'clock when the girls would come on to dance.
Okay.
And he got off. And then the girls would dance at 2 o'clock, and then we'd go on at 2 or 2:30. See, Skippy was not in the band then. So what he did later, maybe a couple of months later, 3 months, 4 or 5, I forget how many. As time escapes me there. But he incorporated Skip with the band. Brother dear, I'm going to tell you something. We were told that was the best unrecorded band they ever heard. And Lou Joe Lambert, the drummer, the one that got killed at Freddie Fender's bus.
Right.
You ever hear Pastor Hatchet?
Oh gosh, yeah.
You know who's that drummer?
That was him.
That was him.
I'll be.
Wouldn't have been for him.
I'll be.
That tune would have
That
never
tune
made
would
it.
have never made it.
No, not without.
That's all drum.
That's right. That's Joe Lambert, buddy.
I'll be.
But let me tell you, you know where Earl Stanley got that tune from? He stole the idea from Freddie Fender, because that was the bass line Freddie Fender would always play, and Earl came in and listened to it and stole it.
You know, you're right. I'm thinking about it.
You're
Wow.
damn right.
It's
I
the
know what
same-
Hey,
it's the
bro.
same.
One thing I could tell you is when I tell you, you can believe you can take it to the bank or anywhere you want and get $1 million off of it. I'm serious. I know. I was there. I mean, you know, but I was first Papa Joe's. We started Papa Joe's off.
Is that
Me and
right?
me and Ray Barris. Ray Barris was a hell of a stand-up singer. We had I started rockin' Ray in the Cadillacs with him. We did shows like Shauna and I did 3 or 4 years before Shauna and I did.
Before they even hit.
Yeah, and we even had stage props and everything. We did Stranded in the Jungle, where Ray was, the lights would go on. There's a 55-gallon drum cut in half and Ray's in the middle of it with an old pilot's hat. And oh, I swear to Christ, I almost fell off the stage. I was laughing so I couldn't stand up. I was laughing at his face with that big cannoli that he had. Man, we all couldn't do the job. We was in the back laughing so damn much in his dressing room. We couldn't do the job right, you know. But then we had the Monster Mash. Oh yeah, a fight scene before we started. I mean, it was precision.
So you were doing a production before the production was
before
a big deal.
Yeah, before
Right.
Shauna and I
Right.
even thought about it.
Right.
And we were
Right.
packing a club that had seated about 100 people. 340 people were sitting in there.
Is that right?
Standing around, sitting on top of the bar, sitting on top of the jukebox.
Yeah.
I mean, every frickin' way in there.
Yeah.
Hanging from the chandeliers and every damn thing else, man, you know, just to see that show.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something, they think the Fonz was the Fonz. Ray Barris was the Fonz, brother.
Yeah.
He had the pack of cigarettes in his white
Right.
t-shirt. Oh, he was the Fonz, believe me. And talk about tough. Love. I mean, Henry Winkler he had never beat a man, Ray Barris was.
Well, what about I was looking at your bio, and it mentions bourbon obviously, but it also goes into Tahoe and some
I
time
worked at
out
Sahara
west.
Tahoe.
Uh-huh.
That's where I met Count Basie.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Him and I, our birthdays are almost the same. You know, and I met him. I met Eddie Lockjaw Davis, saxophone player, in his band. I also did a thing with Earl Grant. Now, I don't know if you ever heard of him, but let me tell you what, you ever hear that cat play organ? Whoo, but anyway, I was staying at across the street at, I think it was Harvey's. Yeah, Harvey's. And he was playing at Harrah's. So I'm sitting in the audience, and I knew the maitre d' family, you know.
Sure.
But anyway, his saxophone player got in an accident. So the guy talked to him on stage. He said, "Hey man, we got a New Orleans guy that plays saxophone. He sits right there. He can do your job." And I knew all of Earl Grant's stuff.
Right.
I just needed a key, you know. So I went. I played the night with him.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. And then we did the Sahara, but we did it in the lounge, not the big room.
Okay.
When Myron Cohen was there, the famous comic, and a guy from New Orleans was a singer. I can't think his name right now. I see a picture of his face, but I can't think of his name. But then I went to Vegas and I worked the Celebrity Club, you know, and let's see what else. Hey, man, I was in California then. I mean, I did some shit. Boy, you don't know. I can be here till day after tomorrow.
We can do that.
Yeah, I'm serious. Hey, but you know what? I'm gonna tell you something, brother. Have you ever heard of Huey Moe?
No, I have not. I have to confess.
MEAUX. Look him up. Okay? The premier promoter agent that ever walked the face of the earth besides Ray Sackheim. And Ray Sackheim was out of Beverly Hills.
I remember Ray.
Yeah.
Ray Sackheim.
Yeah.
Before.
Well, guess what, bro? He wanted me. When I did the show when I met Sinatra and all the boys, I did the show at the factory with a band called the Invaders.
Yeah.
He wanted me. Well, Ralph was the president of Andrews Motion Picture and Television Productions Company, and he wanted Ray Sackheim to come look at him. So when Ray saw what he did, which he was out chasing broads, and I was in the garage with the band,
right?
You know. So Warren, the vice president, came to me and said, "Johnny, if you get that much in the limelight, take the whole stable." And I said, "Man, you're gonna get me in trouble with Ralph." He said, "I don't give a shit. I'll take the blame. I'll tell him I told you to do it." Well, needless to say, I blew that old college off the stage. You understand? So then I'm standing there. I heard Ralph walk up to Ray Sackheim. He says, "Well, what you think about my Sammy Davis person?" And he said, "I wouldn't touch that dude with a 10-foot pole, but I'll take the saxophone player right now."
Is that right?
And he says, "Yeah? How you gonna take him? He's under contract to me." I said, "Well, you stay moving up." Well, I talked to him after. I asked Ray, "Well, what could you do for me?" Ray, I said, "I know who you are. You handle all the big name stars and everything." I still got his card at home.
Yeah.
I have it.
Yeah.
I could prove what I say, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, he says, "Johnny, I'd have you working with Keely Smith between Vegas and Lake Tahoe. You'd be a multi-millionaire in 2 years."
Oh, you've been working every night.
Well, what the hell? What you think Louis was doing? They practiced in the day and worked at night.
That's exactly right.
You know, like that. I don't know how they did that, but I mean, he did it.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know if Sam was still with his wife Vera, but I know that Louis was, of course, he's been married about 3 or 4 times. You know, but what can I say? But getting back to Huey Moe, I took this. Before we remixed it, brought it, right after we did it, okay, I flew up to Houston. Now, Huey was from South Louisiana. He was not from Houston. And I brought it up there on a quarter-track reel. It wasn't on this at all.
Right, right.
So he was listening to it, and I know Huey was a gangster. And he was dying. He had about 6-7 months to live, okay? And he was spinning the quarter track. You know how the producers do, they spin a little bit, spin a little more. When he got to the Country Goose, his foot started tapping. I said, "Gotcha now, you mother." And he listened to the whole tune. And I said, "But you can't steal that one. That one's copywritten
sorry.
in the Library of Congress, which supersedes everybody." So, needless to say, He said, Johnny, I wish I had about a year and a half. He said, make you a big, big name, just like Boots Randolph. He said, that tune is a staple. He said, how the hell did you write that? I don't know. I said, I just sat at the piano and started fighting around with something. He said, but what I can't understand, how you went to the bridge and kept the flow of the bridge going, and when you came out, you did a 4 count on Dixieland and went right back in the country. How the hell you did that? The grace of God. So my knees was knocking. What you mean?
Not many people would have tried to do that, right?
No, it's crazy. But he told me point blank, you get yourself promoted. Fine. That's why I was talking to John about that. Let's put this thing everywhere, fling it like throw it everywhere. Somebody's going to come up and say, I want a piece of the action.
Right.
Okay? Because I am, and I'm not bragging or complaining like I told John. I'm not a bragger about me. I don't think I'm with this or that. I know what I am is different, yes. Don't put me on stage with another horn player, because I guarantee you I hate to say this, but that night that Duke Ellington came into Papa Joe's, the list, his first year trumpet player, Cat Anderson, came in 4 times to listen to me. Mm-hmm. And I was going out to get some coffee. He grabs me by my coat, because that's what I always wore, a sport coat. So I turned around and said, yes, sir, can I help you? He said, you know who I am? I said, no, sir. He said, I'm Cat Anderson. I'm Duke Ellington's first year trumpet player. We had Al Hirsch Club.
Sure.
Oh, I said, I know your name. I said, but I never did see a picture of you, He said, you mind if I bring the Duke in? I thought he was kidding. Mm-hmm. Well, Saturday night rolled around. There was the Duke, Cat Anderson, and Paul Gonzalez, the saxophone player. So I went in the back, and Cat introduced me to Duke. He says, hey, Cat was telling me all about you. I said, how could I just met him?
Yeah, but he apparently had been listening to you.
Yeah, he was. So he says, do you mind if Paul sits in with you? See, Paul played saxophone. Uh-huh. This dude played a solo, lasted almost 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
But he kept playing the same licks over and over, though.
Oh, okay.
There wasn't no creativity on it. So, but he still blew that horn. But you ever try playing a saxophone that long, you better have some lungs, boy. And let me tell you, after working Papa Joe's that many years, I could blow up the Goodyear blimp. Ain't no joke either. But anyway, Paul comes up, and I'm standing there, and I'm looking at him. I'm thinking. So he said, Johnny, what you think? I said, oh, kind of crazy. Well, I lied. I said to myself, either tonight's going to be my ass or yours, and it ain't going to be mine. And I blew his ass off the stage. I shoved the pedal to the metal, and that was the end of that. So when I went back downstairs, down on the break, Duke puts his arm on and says, son, can you read? I said, when I was 17 or 18, I could read your first chair book. I can't read now. I said, I could read, but it takes forever to decipher, because if you don't use it, you lose it.
Right.
And he says, you're right.
Reading music is a language. If you haven't done it in years, you're going to lose it.
Yeah, it's all, everything in New Orleans is head charts.
Yeah.
That's all it is, And that's all I ever did was rehearse with my band. I learned the music. That's what Sam said. He learned it. If he never knew a tune, he went out and learned it,
Yeah.
But I said, well, why? He says, well, you'd have Paul's job. I said, Mr. Ellington, I don't want Paul's job. He said, well, why not? I said, well, let me ask you a question. Would you rather make section money or the man in the front making the big money? Which one would you rather be? And he put his arms around me again. He said, son, you're a good businessman. I said, yeah, I'm asking which one would you want,
Right.
And he said, well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to tell you 4 words. Then after that, I'm going to explain it, because the business is not easy. So I know that. He said, but if you don't quit, and he knew how tough the business is, and he says, one day you will make it, because I have traveled the world, and I remember these words verbatim many times. I have never heard a saxophone player play like you.
Mm-hmm. And when you have that, when you know you have that ability, What does that do to you? How does that?
It's just a job to me, but it's not a job. I got two goals, and I think I told John about that. I got two promises I gotta keep.
Okay.
And let me tell you something. If my grandmother was standing right there, she'd tell you, if he says he's going to do those two promises, the determination, he's going to do it.
It's gonna
Because I
happen.
remember when he said he was going to get his ass whipped if he was going to get something, do it. He did it anyway. Okay, so, but the two promises is that one of them is to my father on his deathbed. He died in my arms, and that was hard. He was everything. My brother, my best friend, my pal, my idol, and my dad.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. If you
Probably
knew,
your biggest fan too.
yeah, and if you knew him, and look, and I'm thinking, man, I know my father. I seen him knock out 3 guys. I ain't seen but 2 punches. Does that tell you something? And they were like 20 years younger than him.
Well, did your father box?
Yeah,
He did.
yeah, he boxed with the best, man. In fact, Willie Pastrana, but he
Pastrana.
was good friends with Willie Pep.
I'm good friends with one of Willie's sons, Anthony.
Yeah, which one?
Anthony.
Anthony. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Anthony. Well, Nick and Anthony and John. Well, one of my one of them died. Which one of them died? Used to travel. Willie Pastrano. Are we talking about? No.
Yeah, Willie.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Willie, right?
Yeah, Willie Pastrano.
Yeah.
One of his boys traveled with him, but one of them died. The oldest one died.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, he died. Oh God, quite a while back.
Yeah.
But anyway, Willie told me one time in the station. He said, he told my father, he said, Charlie, I'm sure glad you stopped boxing. My father said, what's the matter with you? Why you say that? He said, because every time you hit me, you hurt me. I said, Pa, you must be an awful strong person. I got so many facets. I'm gonna be here till day after tomorrow or something.
So let's go over like a little short list of the local guys, the local groups here that you played with, or the ones that are memorable
Well,
for you.
I got tied up on Bourbon Street for almost 20 years.
Easy to do.
I worked at Papa Joe's 7 nights a week.
Mm-hmm.
And you wouldn't believe the people that came in to listen to me play. You remember Edgar and Johnny Winters?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well, Edgar was a saxophone player,
Yes.
and Johnny was a guitar player. Anyway, I became good friends with him. I heard Edgar tell Johnny the first time I met him, he says, I'm going to go get my home and teach this guy how to play saxophone. I looked down and said, yeah, you can teach me, all right. So he comes up on stage with his horn, and I begin to annihilate his ass. He looked at me, he says, how come you don't play like that all the time? I said, Edgar, this is my 7th hour here. If I play like that all the time, you'd bury me after the job. Are you kidding?
It's called pacing.
Yeah, and you know what he said? Johnny, are you serious? Yeah. He says, that's unheard of. Well, you just heard it. Yeah. I don't, those guys, I was a seasoned player, year round.
Look, once you've done, I'll say, if you've been consistently on the street for at least 2 years, if you're good enough to hang there for 2 years and you hung on for 20,
yeah,
then.
Oh, and you know how crazy I was? I'll tell you how stupid. Down in the Gunga Den, Paul LaMarca and Larry LaMarca, well, they owned the Gunga Den, and I think Paul owned the oh damn it, the hell's the name of the place? Bayou Room.
The Bayou Room.
Yeah, they were butting each other.
I don't remember that one. I don't know why.
Yeah, it was right next to each other. So anyway, Larry comes in and says, "Hey man, I need you for an early job." I said, "What time?" He said, 8 o'clock till 2 o'clock in the morning, motto. So anyway, I looked down here. He said, "What you looking for?" I said, "I want to see what the S is on my chest." Well, I took the job, okay?
Right.
You know how many hours I was putting in for a long time? From 8 to 2 and 2:30 all the way around to 8, 9, and 10 in a day.
Ooh. So,
And the best part was one night, one carnival, they said I did between 18 and 20 hours at Papa Joe's. And
Well, you had probably gone into a standing coma at that point. You couldn't remember.
oh God, I'm walking home. I'm passing the club where one of my friends, Monty Carrington, was playing. He walks outside. I said, Johnny, you got your horn? Why don't you come on in and sit in? I said, if you tell me that one more time, I'm going to kill you right here. I said, Brother dear, I just got away from 18 hours. Were you nuts? You know? He said, what? I said, yeah. In fact, you know, once again, I'm not bragging or complaining. I'm only explaining. I got more hours in 5 years on Bourbon than any 10, 15, or 20 guys musicians anywhere.
Right.
More hours in 5 years.
So in pilot speak, you got over 150,000 hours, right?
Whew, boy, you telling me, man? I feel like Methuselah. Are you kidding? That son of a bitch lived 840 something years. And you know why he lived that long? Because no aggravation, no tension, no anxiety, and no frickin' broad driving him nuts. Needless to say, you know. But and then the funny part about it, I was looking for work, trying to find somebody that could really put it together. So I took a walk down Bourbon Street. After I left Papa Joe's, I started working all the other gigs. I went down to the Opera House. I worked every club down on that whole damn street except the famous door. They were Dixieland. I never did dabble into it until I got hooked up with Art Ryder. And he had a thing, 18 parades every year. And I got into Dixieland jazz and I started playing it. I didn't realize I could do it. So, I said, let me take a shot at it.
Just try it.
I did it. So Tommy Yetter, the famous trumpet player, Dixieland trumpet player, he walks up to the van. He says, Johnny, I've been following you all the time. You're a rock and roll. I never knew you could play Dixieland like that. He said, I want you to work with me. I said, if you think I'm a traveler around the world and you making all the money and I ain't, you full of shit. Boy, I'll tell you, man, I got more stories than you know what to do with. You know what Al Joseph said one time? I got 1 million.
I got 1 million, right?
Yeah, that's what he said.
I do. I got 1 million.
You got any other questions?
Well, some of the names here, and I'm not trying to retrace where we were, but I'll just take one. What was your affiliation with Pete at all, if any?
Pete Fountain?
Uh-huh.
I worked a few gigs with him and by his mama's place across the lake. They had a big nice place area. He even had a pond there that he'd supply the fish so his daddy could go fishing in the pond.
Yeah, right. He had it stocked.
And I even got pictures of him and I personally together, but to try to get his manager to handle me, forget it. I don't understand people, man. If you got a product and it works, if you got a box of matches and it's got 100 matches and it guaranteed 100 matches, that's a product that'll work. But they don't understand that.
Right.
They don't understand that. You know. So I said, well, one way or another, I'm going to get where I got to go. If it was hook or crook, I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
I made up my mind to that. Now I'm getting back to the other promise. I told him about it, and he's Christian. The first one I made was to my father, though, okay, on his deathbed. He said, come here, Papa. He called me Papa. He said, I want you to make me a promise. I said, don't worry, Pa, I'll take care of Mama.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about her. I'll take care of her. I took care of my mom for 21 years.
Mm-hmm.
By myself. No kids, no brothers, and no sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Me. But anyway, he said, that ain't what I'm looking for. I said, well, what is it, Pa? He says, I know that when I close my eyes for the last time, a piece of you's going to go with me. Boy, was he right.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus. I'm not the same as I used to be. No, I'm not. But he says, I said, and what's the rest of it? He said, I want you to get back up there and make something out of your damn self. You didn't work all them damn hours and all that blood money you had to kill yourself working and everything else. For what? If you don't make something out of yourself, how are you going to live with yourself?
Mm-hmm.
I said, I can't live with myself without. I'm going to do it one way or another, pal. And that's my promise to you.
There
I
you
kept
go.
it.
There you go.
The second one is to God. There's a shrine on Ursuline, 2100 block of Ursuline in New Orleans. Okay, it's called the St. Anne Shrine.
Mm-hmm.
The thing takes up the whole corner. The whole corner. A big concrete thing, and Jesus on top of it, and the St. Anne and the Blessed Mother under it, inset. It's like a cove, a cave, like, okay? I went to St. Anne School when I was a kid, so I used to go there and pray all the time. Many miracles were granted out that shrine, man. I talked to them two old ladies that ran that shrine for 70 years, 60, 70 years. They told me many miracles were granted out of there. Well, my promise to God is I'm going to open that shrine back, keep it going 24/7, a bus picking up people, and protection.
Mm-hmm.
That's my promise to God.
There you go.
And I wasn't bargaining with him. I said, look, Father God, I'm not bargaining with you. My first monies that I make, which, you know, I just kicked over what Kenny Rogers told me. You know how much money he made on his first hit?
On his first?
Yeah, his first hit. I think it was Lucille.
That was, wow, that was going back, I don't know, million.
How would you believe 200 million?
200.
200 million. I'm thinking to myself, if I make about 30% of that, I'm happy. Okay? Boots Randolph made 175 million, and he only did yakety sax. One tune. The same thing with Kenny
Well,
did.
the rule of thumb is you only need one hit.
That's right.
You only need
Yeah,
one.
yeah, especially in country. Especially in country.
You just need
okay?
one.
Yeah. But that's the promise I made
Mm-hmm.
to God. And every time I get on stage, you know, and if there's another horn player there, he better be able to play that instrument. Like I told one dude, I said, you can give your soul to God because your ass is going to belong to me then. No disrespect.
Well,
but
from that standpoint, if you're able to accomplish that, you intend to play at that grotto?
well, I would like to get it started, advertise it. People don't even know it's there. You know what, bro? I can blindfold you, John, walk you onto the property, you're going to know you on it.
I know right
You
where
could-
it is. I know
yeah,
exactly where it is.
You could feel the energy coming from that holy shrine. And St. Anne is Jesus' grandmother. Okay? And St. Joachim was his grandfather, as far as earthly thing.
Mm-hmm.
See, so that shrine means a lot to me. Oh man, it means a heck of a lot. I pass it at times, the lights are on, it's beautiful. They fixing it up now. I guess God must have heard me getting mad about it, seeing the shrine looking like that, so they started really making it look nice. But they still ain't, they only open it 2 times a week, and it's only for 3 hours. What can you do with that?
Well, the people that do go there for that reason, they know about it. That's what's important. So
Yeah.
you know that the people that want to be there, they're going to be there. So
Well, brother dear, I worked with so many people in my life. It's utterly ridiculous. It's you know, and I almost had a write up in Gambit, and it was another one, jazz thing. Guy dies. I knew the guy personally. He said, "You are the forgotten one."
yeah.
He says, "Man, I got to do a write up. I let these people know you exist. Damn it, you've been here longer than all the rest of them guys." That's what he said.
Yeah.
You know. So about a week later, the week and a half later, I pick up the paper and he's dead. Motto. I said, I hope I don't bring nobody no bad luck, which I don't. You know. Hey, look, me and him is tight. You know why I wear this all the time? Because the bishop blessed that for me.
Is that right?
Yeah. He
Very
says
cool.
a beautiful cross, and he blessed it for me. I got a priest in my family. Father Francis Pennino was at St. Joseph on Tulane.
Is that
They
right?
called him a walking saint.
Huh.
Oh, yeah. And when my father was passing with cancer, I went to see him. He came out the back really solemn,
Mm-hmm.
walked up to me, and looked at me, hugged me. I thought the Holy Ghost hugged me.
Wow.
I said, wow, man. And we sat down and we talked a while, and he alleviated some of the interiors, but you know, when you're losing your best friend and your brother, and you know, he was my everything to me,
Mhm.
you know. But I never forget it. That's one thing for sure.
Well, those are two very noble promises.
Oh yeah, and I'm going to keep them.
Yeah.
So far, I got the 8 yards sitting right here, and now it's between us to find the right people that could probably be a sponsor, a corporate sponsor, because guess what? Pete Fountain was the last pinnacle. Al Hurt died about what, 15, 20 years ago.
Well, yeah, there was, you know, Al and well, Pete was. He was an icon. You know, he had built himself. He built himself. Let's put it that way.
You know,
I'm not saying that he wasn't a fine musician in his own
Boy,
right.
he play?
Oh, I've heard him several times.
And you know,
but-
I'm gonna tell you something crazy that a lot of people understand. Al Hurt was an orthodox player.
Mhm.
He went to college. He graduated from the Conservatory of Cincinnati.
Mhm.
Okay, you ever see the Green Hornet on TV? You ever see that?
Mhm.
Okay, you ever hear that music going on? That's the Flight of the Bumblebee.
Right.
You know, there's only one person who could play that on trumpet.
And that was Al.
That's right. At the end, the credits said "Flight of the Bumblebee," Al Hurt.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I was not aware of that.
And the thing is, Pete, which is crazy. Al was, as I said, was an orthodox. You can go to some places and hear these young guys coming out of college that can basically play like Al because they college trained. They play, okay? You ain't going nowhere to hear somebody sound like Pete Fountain because Pete Fountain was unorthodox. He made his own self.
Mhm.
See? So Pete couldn't read music. Did you know that?
He didn't need to.
No, he didn't. But he couldn't read.
Mhm.
He tried to get Sid DeVilla to teach him. Sid DeVilla was a graduate from Chicago Conservatory on clarinet, and how he gave Pete a little edge. He taught him how to play the tunes that he did at the Hollywood Bowl when he was quitting, because Sid DeVilla's family owned 5 nightclubs on Bourbon Street.
Mhm.
Not just the property. I mean, not the club, but the
And
property,
the
it was
property
on.
itself. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, for you telling me, 5 of them. So they needed him to come home and you know do what had to be done. So, and you know what's crazy? He owned the Mardi Gras Lounge, right? Button, the famous store on Bourbon Street. You pass the front door or the famous door, you're gonna run right into the Mardi Gras. I was playing there for him. I mean, he came in almost every night. I said, Sonny, what the hell you doing here every night, man? He said, I came to listen to you. I said, oh, come on, you pulling my leg? He said, no, man. He said, you are a different player. You create what you do. You ain't reading it, you creating it.
Right, it's coming out of here.
Yeah,
and here. Right.
that's what
Yeah.
Dizzy Gillespie said. He said
Yeah.
there's guys that would want to write what you playing because nobody else is doing it.
Mhm.
I said, okay, Sid. He brought me his own little 45 he did. Sid was a hell of a clarinet player. You don't graduate from Chicago Conservatory and don't play.
Mhm.
You know, he was a player, boy. Let me tell you. But I don't know what the hell happened to him. Of course, he probably dead now for a bunch of years. But I mean, I work with so many guys, man. You ain't gonna believe it. You have people that came in and listened to me play. And I was telling John, Glenn May called me, guitar player. He come from a musical family, and we was talking. He said, Johnny, you remember when I was working at the El Sombrero? I said, yeah. He said, you remember who that movie star was that sat down there and listened to you for 2 hours and then talked with you an hour and a half? I said, I think I remember who that is. You know who it was? Steve McQueen.
Is that right?
That's right. That's right. Him and Ann Margaret. I've worked with so many different big name people. It's ridiculous. I come this close to working with Buddy Guy.
Buddy Guy, that's a name from the past. Wow.
He's still got a name. Yeah, in Canada. His horn player wasn't worth a crap. He wanted me to do it.
Is that right?
Yeah, but he decided to let him go ahead and do the job, being as he paid the money to get there. So it paid him half the money already. If it wouldn't have been for that, I'd have been working with him. Oh yeah. And Carlos Santana, I had a friend of mine was in contact with the leader of his band before he got in a little jackpot and had to go to jail for a while, or school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's another one I missed. There's so many damn things. You know, it's utterly ridiculous of all the people I worked with, and
Well, let me ask you this: how much of I'm going to reverse the roles. How much of you rubbed off on them, and vice versa? How much of them rubbed off on you? Like, who did you really study when you were a youngster? Who did you really study?
with somebody taught me music.
Just to really learn.
Well, his name was Don Lasday.
Uh-huh.
He taught Jerry Jumaville. Now Jerry had a name, but he told me when Jerry left his house where we had one-on-one. Now Don was he studied under Marcel Muley, which is the world's classical saxophonist at Berkeley University. This dude taught me Schillinger. You know what Schillinger is? Mathematics of music. I broke music down to math just out of Schillinger, Joseph Schillinger. And he taught Glenn Miller.
Mm-hmm.
So he told me, he said, Jerry's building a name for himself. He said, but there's one thing wrong with Jerry. I said, what's that? He said, his flame is red-white. Your flame is blue-white.
Is that right?
That's what he said.
Ah.
And one night, Jerry came in at the Opera House on Bourbon, right on Toulouse and Bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't ask him to come up. He came up, and we was doing a kind of up-tempo funk thing in the hard key of E, which is, to me, there ain't no hard keys on the horn to me. I haven't done so many hours on damn. I haven't even invented some keys with Freddie Fender. I said, well, you're playing on the string, you mother. You're playing it between the frets. But anyway, Jerry's standing right there, so I'm blowing a solo, so I pushed the pedal down a little bit. And he went up to the microphone, 4 notes. He backed away and he looked. I said, what's the matter? Man, you great. He jumped up, kissed me on the cheek. I said, oh, don't kiss me on the cheek. They'll put these people out here. So he said, man, you are unreal. Jerry was a good bebop player.
Yeah.
But bebop is playing scales. That's all you play is scales. It drive you freaking nuts.
Oh, that's boring.
You're telling me? I listen to Michael Brecker. He's a great player, but he plays scales. He ain't create nothing. I listen to Sam Butera. Man, Sam makes it happen. He makes the horn say something. It's like he's a Picasso.
Mm-hmm.
You know? He's not just playing up and down scales and all this.
How did he wind up with Prima?
Oh, Sam, you ain't believe this. Sam was working at the 500 Club.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that place?
Mm-hmm.
Where Linda Brigitte was dancing? But before Linda was Lily Christine. Sam was back in Lily Christine in 1956. I wasn't around. I didn't know all that shit, you know. I was a kid, baby, you know. So, but I found out later on that Louis Prima's brother, Leon, owned the 500 Club. And he sold it to Frank Carresi because he was an Italian boy.
Right.
Okay. But anyway, Sam, you ain't gonna believe this. Do you know how much money Sam was making in 1956?
Well, in 1956, if you were making $20,000 a year, you were a rich, rich man.
Oh yeah? He was making $1,500 a week.
Wow. Wow.
Does that tell you something? But Sam, I don't know if, I guess in them days, if you were that good, you're worth it.
Yeah.
You know? But then what happened was when Louis started becoming big in New York, he called Leon up and told him, he says, man, you got to send Sam up here. So
he was familiar with Sam's work. He knew.
Oh, yeah, well, they knew each other.
Yeah.
You know? So when he got there, according to Achilles Smith,
Right.
she said Sam was the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
See? And Sam made a statement. He said, yeah, I left a $1,500 a week job and started making $2,500 a week.
Wow. That was major money back then.
You telling me?
Yeah.
Sheesh. If I made $2,500, we got to drop dead and wouldn't be able to spend it.
I think a Cadillac cost like $1,500 at that time. You
Yeah,
know?
somewhere around in there. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, Sam is a unique player. And you know, it's funny. I work with Louis Prima, his wife.
Gia, yeah.
Yeah. Me and Bobby Linero. You remember him?
Yes.
Bobby and I did it. I'm the one that started a tribute with Bobby to do to Louis Prima. So I'm the only one that could play Sam's stuff. So Gia heard us doing a tribute thing at the Municipal Auditorium for Louis. She was in the audience up there listening to the band. And Louis' manager was there. His sister was there, which is a nun. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And his, I think his wife, if I ain't mistaken. Anyway, they heard what me and Bobby created. And it was exactly like Louis and Sam. It sounded, Bobby sounded just like Louis. And I sounded just like Sam because Sam was my idol. Okay? She came down there, she says, y'all brought memories back. She says, quote and unquote, do you mind if I join your band? I looked at Bobby and he looked at me, you know, why not? You know?
Mm-hmm.
But I remember what Louis said, don't ever let a woman run your business. Quote and unquote. You know. What can I say?
Well, what role did Keely have in all of this?
She was the one that started with Louis when he had a girl singer in Vegas. And everybody thought that the Flamingo was the first.
The Flamingo?
Wasn't.
Okay.
It was not the first nightclub in Vegas. The Trocadero was.
Trocadero.
That's right. And that's where Louis was. The Flamingo didn't come till later. But Keely was the best female singer that he ever had. Gia Prima, she's all right. Gia, right? Mione or Myone, or whatever you want to call her. You know,
Mm-hmm.
she was okay, but not Keely Smith, buddy.
Yeah.
No way around her. But of course, Louis had kids with her. Then he married Gia. Gia, yeah, and had kids with her too. Louis was a scoundrel. What can I say? Oh boy, that guy was something. But you know, my career of working around all the stars, I worked with Frankie Ford, a bunch of gigs. And you know what really kind of got to me one night? I did a gig with him, and I don't know why he did this, but he went up to Kenny, which is the manager, Kenny Keene.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I don't want Johnny on stage with me no more. And Kenny said, why not? Because he's upstaging me. I looked at the bass player. Is he kidding me? I'm upstaging him? Frankie, are you kidding me? So Kenny came over and he said, I don't know why Frank thinks you're upstaging me. I said, I'm not trying to upstage. That's the way I play. What am I do? I can't. One time one guy says, you want to get fired, play bad. I said, I don't know how to do that.
You couldn't play bad when you were 17 years old.
That's
much less
exactly
now.
right. You know, it's crazy, but that's the truth.
Right.
And I worked with him. I did a job with him and the songbird, Johnny Adams.
Johnny Adams. Well, you're bringing up some really.
Oh yeah, I worked with him all in all. I got pictures
Oh,
on the
did.
phone with me and Frankie.
Is that right?
You know, so I mean, I did some work with a lot of big name people. You know, and the last thing I did that was big with a big one was not too long ago. Van Broussard just died about a year ago, maybe 6
Mm-hmm.
months. And we did Waldenburg Park. We had 4 horns in the band. And what happened was I was talking to Zapp's potato chip guy to get corporate sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Van's manager, Jimmy Rogers, was there with him because they knew each other. And they watched the show. So the first time we worked at Waldenburg Park, I got 3 standing ovations, and Van and his sister, Grace. Now you know who Grace is. No, Dale and Grace. I'm leaving it all up to you.
Oh.
That's
okay.
Grace.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Dale decided to quit. She came back to town and joined Van's band. I got 3 standing ovations. They ain't got none. And I was looking at them 2 dummies there, with Mr. Zappi, that was his last name,
Right.
and Jimmy Rogers, saying to myself, either something wrong with them cats or whatever. They said, I'm the one that got the standing ovation. They the big stars, and I'm getting the standing
Does
ovation.
this somehow help you figure out in any way why Frankie Ford was upset with you being on stage with him?
He said I was upstaging him. I was outperforming him. It's crazy, man.
Well, that means he just didn't know how to work it. That's all. He's a star, but you can feature a musician, right?
Oh yeah. Well,
And he wasn't smart enough to
I don't
pick that
know,
up.
Frank. And here's another thing. This guy Jimmy Rogers, I talked to him after. Now we went back to Waldenbury Park. You ready for this?
Uh-huh.
Again, I got 2 standing ovations. They didn't get one. And Van and Grace was talking, and he says, "You know what? He's getting the standing ovations. We ain't even got one." I ain't trying. It's the way I play. If I feel something, look out. I'm coming.
Right. Well, over the years, of course, there's been a 50-year history of Jazz Fest.
Yeah.
What do you have any stories about Jazz Fest in particular?
I worked with Chris Owens at
You
the
did?
Jazz Festival. Yeah, I worked with her a couple of times.
Mhm.
Bobby and I did the last Jazz Festival when, what the hell, man? What's his name? He drew a painting. He's a painter. Okay, he's a big name singer.
Uh-huh.
Tony Bennett.
Oh, Tony. Okay.
Yeah,
he
he's
was
an artist.
He did. Yeah, I do recall that.
He did an artist, of
Mhm.
Louis Prima.
Mhm.
Big old picture, And Bobby and I, we had the band. We were doing all the Prima stuff. That freaking idiot they got as the one that claims he started the first jazz festival. He's full of shit. Because the one that did start it was Pete Bertucci.
Mhm.
I don't know. Me and Ray Barrett started the first jazz festival in the Jung Hotel on Canal Street. That's a fact. Everybody lies, man. Tell the truth with the shit. But Bobby and I did that show and we had the best damn thing going. That place was packed to the freaking walls.
Yeah.
We had a big group. We had 2 trombone players, trumpet and tenor. We knocked the roof off the joint. Oh God, I miss Bobby. I really do, man. I miss the guy so much. Even though he was a scoundrel, I still love him. I miss him. I tell you one thing, he was a hell of an entertainer.
Is that right?
I was watching Louis and Sam on my little thing I got. They were doing Way Marie. Well, Bobby and I did Way Marie too. And he called Sam, come on, I want you to play. He said, Way Marie. And Sam would go, da da da, And he said, Way Marie, da da da. Cuando sono, da 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 da, it answered, right? So he said, then he went into speaking long thing on Italian. And he asked Sam was trying to, and he stopped playing. So he looked and said, what's the matter? He says, you can't play in Italian, huh? and he showed, I embellished it. I showed him the horn. It's a French horn.
That's what's wrong. No wonder.
Yeah, that's what it was. I thought it was funny, man. But Sam, I watch Sam all the time. I got a little thing. I watch Louis and Sam, Bobby and I. We have a cut on Old Black Magic. We went in the studio, me and Chispa, the trumpet player, Bobby, drummer, keyboard player. We went in the studio, dress rehearsal, went in the studio, did a better cut than Louis' band. It was tighter than a duck's ass, and that's waterproof. I'm kidding. If I find that thing, you ain't gonna believe it. You wouldn't believe it. I don't even believe it. Well, I did it. We did it in the studio.
Well, if you come across it, we'd sure like to hear it.
Yeah, boy. I think the doc has got one, a copy. Dr. Stafford.
Yeah.
Because he was always with us, and he did tunes. He sang with the band some, and
Yeah.
everything. So But that was one hell of a studio cut. I can't believe we did it. I mean, it was tighter than Louis' band.
How many takes?
But 2.
That's when you know you did it right.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, we knew what we was doing. Believe me, we did it. You know, we all the doc's got a lot of. I don't know what the hell happened, man. Since Katrina, man, my house was hit. They took me to the cleaners, son of a bitches. Lord forgive me. You know, and I hope to God they with bad luck on. Let me tell you something, man. They stole my 2 soprano saxophones. I had a straight one and one that looked like a little baby one. It was a real horn. Okay, my 4 altos stole that. My 2 clarinets. I had a clarinet, ebonite, and a wood, hickory. They stole that. I have my tenors though. I look like a camel walking out the house today. I had them all on my back. I have 5 Selma tenors and 3 of them are priceless.
The sad part of that is they took those and melted them down for the metal.
But my Selmas, they with me.
Yeah.
I play on 2 Selmas, 57 and 58. One's in the shop, the other one I'm playing.
Yeah.
So, and then the other 3, I got another 58, 59, 60. That's brand new. Brand spanking new. I mean, you know, I got some. I had, and they stole my baritone sax too. That thing was as tall as you.
It wasn't one person to carry all of that.
They stole them.
That's a lot of armor.
I got took for pretty good.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like I talked to the old man. Who knows how much time anybody lives? Numbers don't mean shit. I come from a long living family. My mama's side was 101, 102.
Yeah.
My daddy's side was 96, 98. And I read the Bible a lot. I promised God to read the whole Bible. I read the whole Bible from cover to cover. I ain't kidding.
Good
from
for you.
Old Testament to New Testament, all the way through. You know how long it took me to do that? 2 years. And I read it every night. And every time I finished reading a little bitty thin page, I said, Lord, I don't know why I made that.
Why did?
Holy cow!
What was I thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I read that Bible, but a lot of things stand out to me. Like it says in there, if you love this life, you lose your soul. Who could love this life? Huh? Who the heck could love this life?
Yeah, if that's the price, right?
Yeah, it's like my grandfather said, the rich has got to worry about keeping it, and the poor's got to worry about getting it. The only ones that don't like to lose a life is when they got so much money. They hate to leave it, okay? I got to tell you a quick story. My father, we owned a filter station, him and Dominic. Daddy was a solid partner. And two multimillionaires came in, and I'm sitting in the chair. My father, look, he didn't give a shit what he told them, because there ain't nothing could whip his ass anyway, you know? So he's standing, he says, y'all millionaires. So he said, yeah. Charlie said, yeah, Charlie. He said, well, it ain't your money. He said, what you mean? It's in a bank on my name. Only for borrowed time, he said. Okay?
You're
He said,
just borrowing it for a little while.
yeah, that's what he
right?
told him, you know. And he said, I seen J. Paul Getty's funeral. I seen Howard Hughes' funeral. I ain't seen an armored car following neither one of them to their grave. And he said, you know what the worst part about it is? And they both turned around and looked at him. What you mean, there's a worst part? He said, yeah, that's the worst part. What is it? He said, about a year and a half or 2 years later, your old lady will be balling up with another dude on your money. Look, everybody loved my old man because he was straight out. They ain't none of them. He said, you know why, Papa? I got a lot of people that like me for 2 reasons. I said, what is that? He says, one, because I do have a decent personality, which he did. You know, he was the kind of guy that could take the pitchfork from the devil and stick the devil in his behind with it, okay, and get away with it, okay. And the next one was they feared him.
Yeah.
They feared him. Yeah. And I know why. Oh boy, you don't know some of the stories I heard. I got to write a book on him and me, what I went through. But him, anyway, getting back to the music thing. God, I don't know. There's so many people I've played music with. God almighty. Aaron Neville, I started with him with my own rock and roll band was the Emperors at the time. And 6 months after the Jokers, and we were doing a hit backing him up on Causeway. There's a Masonic temple building there on Causeway,
Oh.
somewhere around in there.
Yeah.
All I know is.
Yeah.
And we were backing him up that night, and I told my bass player, I said, I don't want to see the guitar player tuning your freaking bass. You the bass player. Well, he pissed me off so freaking, I fired his ass. That night, was banging an elbow. I said, pack your gear up, get the fuck out of here. God darn it. You're going to be doing a lot of editing, man. But anyway,
okay.
Here comes a guy up to me. He says, hey, you need a bass player? I said, yeah. And it was Paul Walters.
Mm-hmm.
Paul was a hell of a bass player. He says, you need a job? I said, if you could do the gig, you got the job. He went and got his rig, hurried up and got back, and did the job. He stayed with me for 8 years, 7 years maybe. And Freddie Staley, he'll tell you this story. When I hired that little son of a gun, he was keeping straight fours on a bass drum. I looked down there, he said, what's the matter? I said, if I catch you doing straight fours again on that bass drum, I'm going to break that leg. That's when he developed a funky bass drum.
Is that right?
I'm the one that made him do it. I don't get no credit for nothing, man. You know, it's true. I'm not kidding. I did a lot of things for people, man. No credit.
I know I have a couple of people in my family. Al Arthur, do you know Al?
Sure. Are you kidding? Al, he's the bass player, right?
Mm-hmm.
I worked with him. He worked with me and Bobby. Ask him, he'll tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's been around a while.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, man. Al did a bunch of, he's a good player.
Yeah.
It's a hell of, what's that other author? There's another author, a keyboard player. I can't think of his name, first name. Damn, man. No, is it Greg Arthur?
I don't know him. Different. They're not brothers.
I don't know. All I know is that, you know,
Yeah.
I work with both of them.
Yeah.
I work with just about every big entertainer. I work with Dovell Crawford too.
Yeah.
Remember Sugar Boy Crawford, the Morning Star, that hit he had?
Yeah.
I worked with him at the House of Blues one night, and there's a trumpet player in there, and they got people taking a video camera up there and interviewing him, everything. And he introduces me as a killer saxophone player. And I reached over and said, I want to ask you a question. He said, what? If I'm a killer saxophone player, I can only videoing him. Does that make sense to you? No, I don't. But that's what it was.
Well, over time, how many? If you had to count them, what would be your guess of just how many people that contacted you to go play with them?
You mean stars?
What I'm driving at is if this were L.A. or Nashville, you know, they had session players, right?
Yes.
So you would really fall in that classification.
I've done a lot of sessions for Cosmo.
Yeah.
You know, I've done a lot for him. Yeah. And I worked with a lot of big. In fact, when Huey was Houston, Leo O'Neill, a trombone player, he was his A&R man, which is arrangements and recording. You know, he called me on the phone, and Leo said, Johnny, Huey wants you to come up here and work in the studio with us. I said, man, I'm working 1,000 hours a week. What do you want me to do? I said, I can't come up there. I'm living home. It ain't costing me nothing. You know, that's why my father wanted me to stay. He wanted me to develop me. Well, that's exactly what I did. You know, it's a crazy thing. I hear a sound in my head. I got to have that sound. And when I get that sound, look out, here I come. You think Amtrak is a train. I news for you, and I ain't bragging or complaining at the end. I go in the bathroom and I practice. A lot of people do. You know why? Because the bathroom's got where you got all the tone you can hear. It's good acoustics.
Oh, you're gonna hear it well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the horn sounds like $1 million in a bathroom. I'm trying to find the correct configuration of speakers, echo chamber, reverb. I heard Michael Brecker playing through an echo unit and a reverb. Phil Driscoll, trumpet player. I seen it. You ought to hear this mother play, but you ought to hear what he's playing through.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It enhances you. It makes you want to play.
Well, you start hearing more sounds, and it's
You're
like
right.
opening another chapter on a book.
You're right.
I know what you're saying.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But getting back to Canada, the Downchild Blues Band, that's what they called. You can look them up on your computer. They there. They still going.
Mhm.
Of course, God bless him. Mike Fonfera just passed away. He had prostate cancer, and Mike Fonfera was the premier organ keyboard player. And Paul Schaefer idolized Mike Fonfera.
Paul Schaefer.
Yeah, he idolized him. Oh yeah, Mike Fonfera was son of a gun. I had another session. I would have had another CD. I got sick. Sunday, I ate something. I don't know what the hell happened. Lighthouse and the Lincolns. Now I don't know if you heard of the Lighthouse, but they were big. Okay, the Lincolns too. He had a session set up for me. Or them two bands would back me, and I frazzled and got sick. Couldn't do it. Ah, darn it, man. I even took Clarence Henry to Canada.
He went up there with you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You want proof? I got a phone number
Yeah.
right now. He'll call you. He's in Canada.
Uh-huh.
On my phone, I can call to Canada.
Well, what was the Canadian connection? What was that about?
I met him a long time ago. I was working at the Opera House with Joe Francois. And let me tell you, that cat's a good front man, good singer. He reminds me of Sam Cooke, and that's another one I work with. I work with Sam Cooke, Arthur Alexander, and James Ray at the Municipal Auditorium and one in the show. Back then. I did some shit. You know, you're triggering things as we talk.
So what was Sam like?
Pretty nice guy. Come think about it.
Mhm.
You know, yeah. But Joe Francois, I said, you black mother, you should have been a preacher. You know.
He had the gift, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Oh man. And I remember many a nights we never had nobody. Okay, in the club. After we every time we took a break, the club vacated.
Sure.
Okay. So he come to me many times. You ready to work? I said, yeah. That's what I'm getting paid for. Yeah, let's do what. Man, once he got started, we shut every nightclub down around there. All of them.
Because they all wanted to be there.
Yeah, they wanted to know who that singer was and who that saxophone player was.
Right.
And then I had some people from Italy. They came in, they listened to me play, and when I got on break, they called me over. You know, they were trying to talk to me in Italian. I said, I am Italian, but I forgot the words. Oh, okay, well, we'll talk in English. So that's fine.
Okay.
I said, asked them, I said, well, what do you think about playing? And they said, oh man, you are unreal. So I said, I was going to throw a curve at him, okay?
Mhm.
I said, okay, if I'm unreal, let me ask you a question. And he said, yeah. I said, what about Fausto Di Papetti? Is he better than me? They said, how you know about him? Yeah, he's a saxophone player in Italy. They said, he ain't nowhere around you. I said, yeah, well, he's making all the money and I ain't making none. So, I mean, when you're sitting on a gold mine, you know, it's such a frustrating thing. You know, you think about it, you're in your quiet time, you lay in bed, bong. It's...
You know, it's been said before that, I'm sure you've heard this many times before from different people. Athletes will say this all the time, and there are many musicians that I've heard them say, you know, it's great to get paid for this, but I would do this for nothing. If I could afford to do it for nothing, I would.
I did it for nothing.
You already did that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Brother, let me tell you something. There ain't nothing you can come up and tell that I have not done. And I swear to God, does that tell you something? I don't need a polygraph. I got him.
Right.
That's the best polygraph that you ever going to get.
Right.
I've done it many times for nothing. Oh yeah. I did many benefits for nothing. I did a lot. And you know, I feel like I need a Purple Heart, a Medal of Valor, and all the rest of them other medals for what I did. But I didn't do it for that. I did it because I wanted to do it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
that's, you know, I'm going to tell you something that you guys, I never said to not too many people, and I'm going to tell you I did it. there's a Jesus picture, a statue, a full life-size statue on Saint Bernard and Galvez,
Mm-hmm.
right by that church, and it's lit up all night. You know what I did? I took a bottle of water, put a little soap in it, another bottle that was water in it, and one night about 2 o'clock in the morning, I went over there and I washed Jesus' feet.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I did that. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna tell you another thing. I can show you. Jesus marked me since I was a baby, and I can prove it. Okay, right now I'm gonna prove it. But he marked me. I was supposed to die at 6 months old. I had double bronchial pneumonia. And Herbert Rothschild, the famous pediatrician, and he was the best in the United States. He that night he told my father. He said, "Well, tonight's the night. If Johnny's here tomorrow, God didn't want him." So he said, "Go home and try to get some sleep, Charlie." Well, Dad didn't go home. He went to sleep under the couch in the visitor's room.
Mm-hmm.
So that morning, Dr. Rothschild came in, and the people clean up the place. They found him under the couch, and they brought him a cup of coffee, you know. And Dr. Rothschild came in. He said, "I thought I told you to go home, Charlie. I can't leave him by himself, Doc. I couldn't do that."
Mm-hmm.
And now you see why a piece of me ain't here.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he looked at Dr. Rothschild and he says, "Charlie, Johnny's here. God didn't want him. And he's a fighter." And I am. Oh yeah, I am.
Well, you had a lot to do. You had a lot of work ahead of you yet. He wasn't ready to take you.
That's exactly right. Oh yeah. And when I was born, my grandmother noticed something on my right hand. I'm gonna show it in the light when you can see it better. She said, "Jesus marked that kid."
Yeah.
And you can't imagine. You can see it's a red heart here with a number 1 on the side.
Is that right? Wow.
And on a little hand, can you imagine how big that was? And my grandmother saw it. She said, "Jesus marked that kid. He's got a lot in store for him."
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep asking when. You know, when I lost my dad died in my arms. My poor mom, I took care of her for 21 years, and I have no wife. I got no kids. I got no brothers. I got no sisters. I'm fighting this world by myself, man. This ain't no easy task.
Well, he had a mission for you, and you have succeeded.
Yeah.
Okay. You have
far,
succeeded.
So far.
I understand what you mean when
Yeah.
you say that.
Yeah.
But you have succeeded. Your body of work speaks for itself. Period.
When I think about everything I did, it tires me out just thinking about it. I'm
Right.
not kidding, man. I'm missing a lot of things. And even John had mentioned, he said, "You think you're gonna remember a lot?" Yeah, I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
My brain gets triggered, you know, without a problem, you know. And I mean, I did a lot. Jesus, I even when we was in California, I did all the Millionaires Club all up and down Santa Monica Beach. That's a feat just in itself. Let alone
When you say all of them, I'm not familiar with Santa Monica Beach.
there's Millionaires Clubs all along there.
Okay.
And I worked every one of them.
Okay.
Me with the band, the Invaders.
Yeah.
I had some good players that were behind me, so that's why I was in the studio while that goofball was chasing broads. I knew what I had.
Right.
Them guys were damn good players. In fact, the drummer, he died a few years ago, but he was with Dr. John for quite some time. He's a black guy.
Mm-hmm.
Herman Ernest, hell of a drummer, boy. Let me tell you. And then Jimmy Moley, our guitar player, he was Fats Domino's guitar player after we came back to town.
Yeah.
Now Clyde Toval, the bass player, he became a preacher. Wow. But anyway, and then Robert Dabon, he's doing all kind of gigs with Deacon John and a bunch of all kind of guys. Keyboard player, very good keyboard player, very good. So I mean, I work with some heavyweight cats, man.
Do you have anything coming up with Jazz Fest this year?
No, Something might happen. Then again, I don't know. Vince, I'm working with Vince Vance. I worked with Rockin' Doopsie a couple of gigs. That band was so damn loud, man. You couldn't even hear yourself think.
Doopsie's pretty loud.
Loud, pretty loud.
Yeah, pretty loud.
Hey, anytime you rattle your inner ear, it's too damn loud. And you know how bad it was? Before we started, the place was the Southern Hotel in Covington. The middle of it had a tent over it. Okay, echo and everything. He went crazy over my sound. Man, you want a steady job? You got a passport? I said, I'm going to China. And, you know, and he says, no, I want you, I want to hire you. I said, well, just wait. Well, it was so damn, I couldn't do nothing with him.
Right.
How you gonna play something you can't make out what the hell they doing? His brother was so damn loud on that accordion. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they all were good players in their own rights, but they could not control their volume. You know, they were all amplification. Me, I'm a wind-blown instrument. What you want? I said, my lungs ain't that freaking loud.
It's only going to get so loud.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The trumpet player, he comes in a half hour late. He still got his full pay. But you know what's funny? I'm supposed to play parts with the trumpet player. No rehearsal. He don't even, if he played 10 notes, I'll eat every inch of that damn trumpet. And he quit playing. The reason why he quit, he couldn't hear. The only way I could hear he was playing, I put my ear by the bell.
And you got paid for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he got paid for it. And the saxophone player that they had trouble with, he kept coming to the job loaded all the time, okay? Well, I don't know, he might have took the job back and straightened out, I don't know. But one night I'm at the Opera House and in Milton, he walks in, okay? He's a sax player. I got him out of prison quite some time back because his wife was in the middle of the block where I live at right now.
Right.
And he felt like he owed me something. So he used to tell me, anytime you need anything or whatever, or you got a problem, you call me, I'll take care of it. So anyway, he walked into the Opera House and he's doing this to me. And I'm up on the stage about this high, you know. I looked at him, I said, what are you, crazy? What you doing that for? He says, everybody on the block is talking about that white saxophone player. I should have known it was you. That's his exact words, you know. When I got things going, I can make it happen. I can load the wagon. And if the mule breaks down the wagon, I'll jump on a mule. That's the way it is. And it's a gift. It ain't me, it's God. You know. He just gave me the gift. I mean, what can I say? But reason why we're here. And look, there's more. Some things. Yeah, John, you were right. I did forget some things, but not a lot.
Okay.
If there's something you remember, throw it.
Sinatra.
Oh, geez, yeah. I'm on stage at the factory, and have you ever seen any pictures of the factory?
Yes, I know where it is.
Yeah. Well, guess what? I worked it.
Yeah.
And I'm on stage and I'm playing, checking out the sound system, just at a sound check in a day. And all of a sudden I felt something pulling on my pant leg because I'm up in the air, right? I turned around and said, oh, Mr. Sinatra. He said, it's Frank. Oh, I said, okay. I said, what's the matter? He said, where's the music you're playing? I said, it's right here. He started laughing. He said, man, he said, I can't get over that. I said, in New Orleans, you got to do that. They call it head charts, you know? He said, come on, I want to introduce you. So he introduced me to Peter Lawford, Sammy Davis. Well, Peter Lawford came out from the back where the restaurant in the back where they were cooking. So he walked in, and he was last coming there. I met him, Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis, Peter Lawford, and Joey Bishop. And they all were asking me questions. And you know, I asked Frank one time, I asked him, I said, can I ask you a question? He said, yeah. I said, before you go on stage, are you a little afraid or a little fear? He said, yeah, all the time. I said, can you tell me why? I'm the same way. He said, let me tell you something, man. And don't forget this. When you're in fear, that fear keeps you on a straight line. Well, when you get up there and you have no fear, that means you're loose. You're too loose and allowed to make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I said, that's nice to know. He said, yeah. He says, another thing too, you can't blow your own horn. You understand what he meant by that? You gotta have somebody blowing it for you. You know, manager, agent, somebody. And if you're good, anybody can do it because you proved yourself. They know who you are.
You have the material to do it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not, you know, when I used to do some things with Bobby would tell the people, there ain't nobody plays it like him. He was right. It's a gift. I don't say it's me. I tell him, it's him, right there, not me.
Yeah.
He's playing it for me.
What's the adage? On loan from God.
Yeah, you said it. Okay, let me tell you something. You see that CD?
Yeah.
Promise you. On there, I'll put a closer walk on there. Okay? Billy Strange took it to a church. He said, Johnny, when they heard you playing a closer walk, it brought tears to their eyes, the people in there. And he says, you know what I want to do? I said, no. He said, I want to do a gospel album with you. He says,
now that would be very unique. I know you're talking about country earlier, but that would be.
Yeah. He said, I want to do a gospel album with you. You got so much heart. You got to hear that CD, bro. You got to hear it. You're not going to believe it. And then Billy came in when everybody was in the studio. The whole studio was full of musicians, okay? And he said, Johnny, would you like to do White Christmas? I said, yeah, if you want me to, I'll do it. He said, what key you doing it? I said, C. He said, okay. Keyboard player, Tony Migliori, was a graduate from Juilliard's with a PhD. You understand? They wrote the arrangements up for the strings, the Shelley Kirkland strings that are known all over the world, the Jordanaires, and the Lee James singers. When you hear this thing, you ain't gonna believe it. Look, we could sell a fortune of these CDs. I'm not kidding you. But anyway, we did White Christmas. So after we did it, I went to get something to eat. It was late at night, about 6, 7 o'clock. So I'm at the hotel. He calls me in the room. He calls me up. He said, Johnny, you got to come to the studio. It was an RCA studio. Okay, so I jumped in a car. We drove. He says, you ain't gonna believe White Christmas. I said, why? Something wrong? He said, no. He said, I want to tell you something. I don't know where you got your gift from. This is better than Bing Crosby's White Christmas. I said, Billy, you pulling my leg. I ain't got no money. You can't buy her nothing. And he said, no, I mean it.
That's saying a lot.
And it's not on this CD. That's a thing that I gotta get. I gotta talk to him about. We gotta go to Frankie Ford's house when the girl that's his executor left a note, a message for me to go get my masters. They're boxes this high, 5 boxes.
Don't let that wait.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. I gotta go get them. 3-inch tapes. They ran them like 30 psi, and
RPS.
I mean IPS. Don't mind me, man. My brain is dead. Hold on a second. So anyway, I gotta go get that and my folder that goes with the business of that. Of my thing. That's what I gotta get. Now another thing, I don't have no place to put them. Where am I put them? I got nowhere to put them. You got to put them in a climate controlled type of thing, and you can't put them on the side. You got to lay them down.
You would have to. Most of those types of items are heavily insured for one, and they're usually kept in a secured storage building that's climate controlled.
Well, that's what Frankie Ford's house had.
Yeah.
He had an area that's
Right.
climate control
Right.
because all of his masters were in there too.
Living down here, I'm not telling you nothing you aren't aware of. The humidity will kill it
Oh, you telling me?
fast.
Shit.
It-
But
within weeks.
Jimmy Rogers told me he's got an exclusive contract with Westwood One. All I need is an agent to contact with him, providing I got my masters. I'll tell you something.
Well, there you go.
But the thing is, you know what? You ever hear Westwood One?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the second world's largest promotion company.
That's right.
But I need an agent. I can't do this. If I stay up day and night, you coming to my funeral then. I gotta sleep sometimes. I can't stay up day and night. And look, there's enough money for everybody. There's enough money. What? 200 million that Kenny made? Boots said he made 172 million on Yakety Sax. Come on, give me a break, man. That country goose. In fact, I had a guy shopping it, helping me. That's in Nashville. He's just doing it because he wants to. Okay. He says he goes into places where they got these country bands and they play it. So what he did, he put the country goose on the sound system.
Mm-hmm.
He said, man, they want to know who you are. Where'd you get that from? A New Orleans guy. You telling me a country guy in New Orleans? Yep. He said, the guy called me just about 4 or 5 days ago. Yeah. He said, you know what they call in your tune? They call it Happy Country. Happy Country? I said, yeah. He said, yeah. It's a country goose. They said, they call it happy country music. Happy music. But you know what? That's what Louis Prima said. His music is happy music.
Oh yeah, Louis' stuff was a party.
My cousin Joe Segretti used to manage him. I don't know if you ever knew of Joe Segretti,
No.
but Joe Segretti he was a hell of a dude, man. But he managed Louis for quite some time. Oh yeah, I mean him and Sam.
So who would you get to manage it if you could?
I don't know. So I'm talking to John. Anybody
Well-
can do it. Anybody can do it if your product works. In other words, if you used to take this thing and say, hey, you hear this? You want to listen to this for a minute. Then I'm looking for agent, promoter, or better yet, don't need a promoter. We got one right here. Corporate sponsorship. Once they hear this sucker, for some damn reason, it works. I
Yeah.
don't know why, but God was in that studio with me, brother. You got to hear this. You ain't gonna believe it. That's why Luther Kent, I know you know who he is.
Right.
He came into the club, and I was telling him about that at Gino's in Baton Rouge. You heard of Gino's?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Luther was working there with a 3-piece band. He comes into the meeting where we were, me and Bobby. He puts his arms around me and said, ladies and gentlemen, you know who this guy is? I said, Luther, I'm a star. I ain't got no money. You can't buy her nothing. So he says, this guy here is probably the best saxophone player in the country. I said, I ain't the best saxophone player, Luther. I'm different, yeah, but I ain't the best. He said, don't believe him. He says, I just want you to know who you're talking to. So I gave him a CD. I said, here, for being so nice. On the way home, Bobby falls asleep, that's his forte.
Mm-hmm.
You know, drop of a penny. The phone rings. So it was Luther on the phone. I said, what happened, Luther? I said, if you broke down, I'm not that far away. I'll come back and get you. He said, no, Johnny, I ain't it. He said, I couldn't wait to get home to listen to your CD. So I put it in my car on my Bose speakers. You know what his words was? I have not heard a production like that in 3.5 decades. He said, you played your frickin' ass off, he said. I said, Luther, I told you I ain't got no money. You got a hard head, huh? But I sat in with him one night at Margaritaville before they changed it to B.B. King's. And him, Big Johnny Thomasy, the drummer.
Mm-hmm.
He was with him and Bruce Ellison. So they were working there. So I sat in with him. I get off the stage after I played a couple tunes, and I was talking with some people, a group of people, you know. Luther walks up to me, puts his arms around me, said, "I got to tell you something." And I said, "What?" He said, "You ain't made me no nickel, and I ain't made you no nickel." I said, "Okay. You play your frickin' ass off." And I said, "Okay, how do I answer that? I keep telling you I ain't got no money." What else can I say, you know?
What's the name of your CD?
Saxy Country Soul. Saxy, country, soul. Got 3 different types of music on it.
Oh, I see how you did that. Okay.
Yeah. You know where I got the name of the country goose
No.
for my tune? Remember the funky chicken?
Oh.
That's where I got. That's where I got the country goose from. How you like that?
So that's from what I'm hearing. You're kind of telling me that song is the flagship song on that CD.
Let's just say that's the smartest one to do.
Okay.
Okay, it's the smartest avenue to travel on that particular thing. There's
Okay.
other tunes on there, but it's not. They all cover tunes of somebody else. I'm the one that wrote this one.
Okay.
Okay, but like Huey said, you did a damn good job. That damn tune is going to make you a fortune.
Mm-hmm.
He called it a gold mine.
Mm-hmm.
Who else could I? I've known Huey since I'm a teenager. Okay, Huey always thought I could play, but when he came in that night with his girlfriend at Papa Joe's, he just couldn't believe what he saw and what he heard.
Right.
He asked Joey Long, the guitar player I hired him too. He wrote "Neighbor, Neighbor" that Jimmy Hughes sang. Okay, I had a super band at Papa Joe's. Let me tell you. And he said he went to Huey. Now Huey didn't recognize me. Okay, and so he asked Joey. He says, "Where you got that saxophone player from?" And Joey came back and told him. He says, "Johnny Pennino." I know that kid. I'm a kid. Are you ready? He was older than me. What can I say?
Well, you're a kid to him anyway.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But man, look, I done been in every crack and frickin' crevice that there is, and I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Every darn crack and crevice. I worked with just about everybody and their grandpa. I mean, the Giants. Big Joe Turner, another one. You know why I call him Big Joe? Because when I stood behind him, they didn't even know I was up there. That's how big that mother was.
Because he was that big?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they used to call about a giant. Jesus, my God, I said, "Joe, will you move over just a little bit to let him know I'm here?" That's crazy, man. But that's so much that I've done. Oh God, I can't. It's like as we talk, things will trigger me, and it'll bring me into the areas, you know, where
Mm-hmm.
you know, of things that I did, you know. So, God, there's so much. I know so much of music. I sat down one time, and I got a book with thousands of tunes in it, right? And you know, they tell you, when you go to school for music, learning music is one thing, but there's one thing you're missing, and it's, you got to learn the tunes. Not just the music, you gotta know the tunes. See? Just off the top of my head, I think I did about 240 tunes. Just wrote them down, just for grins and giggles.
Just ones that would pop up.
Yeah, you know, and I ain't even scratching the surface.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even scratching the surface. I must know a skillion freaking tunes that I've been through. My brain done gathered. Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, there's a lot. I gotta admit this. When I started working with Van, he was doing tunes that I have never done before. But for some reason, I knew where the flow was going, and I did the tunes.
It's intuitive.
Yeah,
At
I
that
remember
point.
I seen an interview with Sam on a computer,
Mhm.
which I don't know how to operate. One of the guys had it, and he said that when he would have to do a tune, he would have to learn the tune to play it.
Mhm.
Me, they just throw me up on stage. Say, okay, this is the key, the name of the tune. I'll see you at the end. That's nice. I like that. But for some reason, it happened.
But you could still do it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've done things so many times. You know, it's ridiculous. And then I dabbled into some jazz things. You know, Stan Getz stuff. You know, Ipanema did those. Uh, Cannonball Adderley, the work song. There's so many of them. Oh man. Sheesh.
So what would you say is exactly, if you had to pigeonhole your sound, what would you call it?
Different.
Because from what you're telling me, all these guys have all come to you and said, I know this, I know this, I know that, but when you say different, because a musician knows another musician.
Right.
When they come to you and say, I've never heard that before. So I'm asking you, give it some thought. Give it some thought.
Oh yeah, I've been throwing that on stage. Yeah. I worked what was it? Royal Flush band.
Uh-huh.
It's a swamp pop band. And all they did was give me the name of the tune and the key. And about 10% where I knew how the tune worked.
Right.
For some reason, I guess, you know. And then the funny part about it, keyboard player tells me, I can't wait, and the steel player too, I can't wait till we get back together. You're playing some lines, man, on there. I don't know. I'm doing what God gave me. And I've done it many times.
Yeah.
When I'm in the Hall of Fame, and it's Louisiana Hall of Fame I'm in, not New Orleans, the
Correct.
Louisiana.
Correct.
And that's out of Lafayette, Louisiana. I did the thing out there. We had to play a tune. Danny Abair was there with me too. I don't know if you know him or not, but
No.
he's a guitar player, singer. He got his award. Oh, I did Europa. And they had about 15 or 20 saxophone players there with other bands. You know, they got awards.
Sure.
I got swamped. I said, what are you doing? How the hell did you do this? What do you mean? You different. They want me to teach them. Teach them? Do you know how long it took me to learn what I know? You think I'm going to tell it to you in 5 minutes? You're crazy.
Right. You have a lifetime behind you.
Yeah, that's what it is. And I hear a sound locked in my head, and I want that sound.
Yeah.
You know, these people don't understand. Busting my freaking ass just to get a sound. I can't even hear it. They don't understand. The bell is here. The sound's going here. I'm not here. It's on that way.
Right.
I gotta hear what I want to hear, you know. So anyway, so one of the speakers wasn't working. So I looked at the speaker, the light wasn't on. I said, oh man. So I kept messing with it. It came on. And they were saying I was loud. Hey, that's saying something when a horn that don't have no amplification is loud. Okay? So when I turned the speaker around and I could hear what I'm doing, I backed off and I started playing ideas better, you know, better things. And his wife was sitting in the audience. So when she walked up, he says, well, Johnny turned the speaker on. Did he get louder? She said, no, he's not loud now.
Mm-hmm.
I told him, I said, you know, I told him that. I ain't kidding you. You know, give me what I need and I can load the wagon. What do you want to do? That's impossible. If you got any other questions on there, just ask.
No, I just keep looking down every now and then, trying to see if there's some other stuff on it. You've just had an extraordinary career. It's unbelievable.
You know what?
It is
I look in the
unbelievable.
mirror and I say to myself, how the hell did you do that? You know, there's times, I'm serious.
Well-
How did you do it? And I don't know. I guess you don't stop and think. You just do. You go. Every night after night after night for all them years. fighting Bourbon Street to get down on during carnival time. Well, it's the worst damn time of the year. The fight to get down there in my time. Carnival was tight, man. And good thing my father's station was at the corner of St. Louis and Bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
Because all I did was park the car and walk up 2 blocks, and there's Papa Joe's two and a half blocks
you were
up.
good to go from there, right?
Yeah, you know. And my cousin was on a department, and he used to be in the station. He'd wait for me to get there. He'd walk with me down the block. I remember my father told him, he said, hey, he said, Jimmy, he said, what? I said, made sure nothing happened to my kid. He said, don't worry. Ain't nothing gonna happen to him.
Yeah, I can't imagine trying to navigate Bourbon Street during Mardi Gras.
Oh, man, you can't imagine.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was just terrible. I mean, you know, what can I say, man? And try to carry a horn down there, you know, among all them people. And Jesus, especially when I was working from 8 o'clock, 8 to 8, and 3 hours past that. I did that for a few years with with Paul LaMarca.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, Larry LaMarca.
Yeah, I don't think Bourbon even does that anymore, where they do it 24 hours a day. They
No, I don't know.
They knock it down.
I've worked some gigs down there, but it's not like it used to.
Yeah.
You know the place that is like Bourbon now? When you walk down there, you're going to see that it's like 50 years ago, you're going into a warp, a time warp.
Mm-hmm.
Frenchman.
Is that right?
Frenchman reminds you of
man.
old Bourbon Street for at least 3 or 4 blocks. Nightclubs on both sides.